In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you why I don't want kids. My name's Gavin, and I'm a spiritual coach who helps people create their dream life through subconscious reprogramming and energy healing. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why I don't want kids. And this video is not intended to hurt anyone or hurt anyone that's already had kids, but is to provide a perspective that's a little bit different and hopefully helps you deepen your spirituality. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to benefit from this. So I have strange perspectives, and sometimes it can rub people the wrong way, or sometimes it can make people feel funny. But at the same time, I still welcome your perspective, and feel free to comment below what you think about this particular video. So I've experienced this world for over 30 years and I've seen a lot of things. I grew up in a really rough neighborhood. I was around gang crime, gang culture. My school wasn't really that good. I failed in school. I struggled in a 9-to-5 and doing all that stuff. I've experienced depression, low health. I also experienced some traumatic things in my life, and I'm sure maybe you have as well. You've been through some hard times yourself. And so depending on where you're at in life and what you've been through will change. You will have a different perspective on what I'm about to say. And so I see the world, I see the pandemic, I see the coronavirus, I see, Black Lives Matter, I see all of these things happening, I see war. And so why would I want to bring someone into this reality, unless it was for selfish reasons? And so my whole perspective on kids is that, fair enough, my ego wants kids, and I do want kids, by the way. It's just that I want to share with you why I don't want kids. Okay, so I don't want kids because of this reality, but also having kids, I believe, should be from a spiritual approach. Like I'm bringing someone into this world through God for a reason bigger than myself. I'm not bringing a child into this world just for me, so I can have kids and build a family necessarily. Yes, I want all of that stuff. My ego wants all of that stuff. But then I can ask myself, why does my ego want that stuff? Have I learned that? Is that God's template? Is that what God wants? I don't know. But what I do know is I want to be totally certain about what I'm doing and my choices in bringing a new person into this world, a new human being. Do I feel like I'm truly 100% ready? So all of these things don't necessarily need to align. I know sometimes you're not ready for children. Sometimes it just comes because it's God's will or whatever it is. I believe in that's fine. But at the same time, for me personally, I want it to be intentional. I want it to be a strong reason behind it. And it's kind of crazy because that could be my ego within itself saying that it needs to be God's way, right? And so this is something that it's just a belief system that I have. It's a perspective. And I'm just sharing with you my perspective. I would love to hear your perspective on this. And I was having a discussion with someone else about this as well. And she said, when you have kids, you'll just have so much love for them. You'll be so motivated and you'll want to do more and be more. And so I get that part as well. I don't fully understand it because I don't have kids. I feel like just having kids for yourself is a ego-based perspective. And the idea that I have in my head is it can be ego-based, but I also want it to be spiritual-based as well. And there has to be meaning behind it, bigger than myself and my own reasons for wanting to build a family and having kids. I think like 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I had a perspective that when it comes to kids as well, that one should require a license to have kids. Sounds strange, right? But what I mean by that is we require a license to drive a car, right? And so what's more important, a car or a human being? I feel we should learn in school how to, manage a family, how to, work with our communication, how to make sure you're building self-esteem within yourself and in your child. I feel like we should learn these kinds of things in school. I think it should be a mandatory education, if you plan to have kids. And so it should be some sort of license or qualification. I would hate for myself to have kids in a position where my mental health is not there, I haven't got the emotional capacity to handle it, you know, I'm now affecting that child in the way that they're brought up, their mindset, their psychology, their subconscious mind, the way that they operate in the world is completely different to someone who, the version of myself that is a greater version and has the mindset and has all of that stuff, which I guess if everyone done that, then it would dramatically affect the world in a really powerful way. Like I said, we require a license to have a business that sells alcohol, or we require a license to drive a car, or we require a license or qualification to help people with their health, you know. And you know, whilst these things, you know, are important and some are more important than others, the most important out of all is the human being and the way that they are operating in this world. And just to add to this, I don't think the license should be constructed by people who are megalomaniacs, narcissists, people who want to control and power, and the actual system as it is right now. The license in my mind is more of like a spiritual approach, you know. The chances of that happening, I don't know. Maybe I need to create it myself. I don't know. But my thing is all about seeing the world in a better place. And that's where all of this is coming from. My whole mission, the core of who I am, is raising the vibration of the planet and creating magic in people's lives. I just see children as the beginning. I see them as the beginning. I see them as the future. I see it as like an ancestral sort of legacy kind of thing. It's like a, you know, they're gonna have kids and 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 they're gonna have kids. So that's the way I think. I think like years and years and generations and generations and generations and generations. How am I leaving the world better off? And so for me personally, that's why I don't want kids. I want kids, but I know my ego wants kids. And so when you know your ego wants kids, it's like, oh shit, yeah, my ego wants kids. And then adding that, you know, spiritual perspective to having kids and seeing it like that. You know, we've been taught so much. We live in an ego constructed world. We learn from our external reality, and even down to marriage. Marriage is something that a lot of people need to look into. And where did it originate from? Why was marriage invented? What is the root cause of marriage? Most people don't know. They think it's about love. Marriage has nothing to do with love. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. And so what about children? What about, you know, all of this stuff? Where does it come from? What is the root cause? What is the source of it? And when we go back and we look, we'll see things like marriage has nothing to do with love. Marriage is actually a business. Marriage is actually two families coming together so they can work together. Marriage is about building relationships between two different families. That's what marriage is really about. It's not about love. We have learned romanticism. We've been taught romanticism. And so we have to realize that when we look at marriage right now, what we see is a business. What we see is a contract. What we see is all of this stuff. That wasn't there before. This was introduced. Does that make sense? And so the system made a business out of it, and they're making shit tons of money from it. So this shows how deep our beliefs are about our reality and what's normal, right? The way marriage is right now is not the norm, right? People think and assume it's norm because everyone's doing it, and that's the way it is. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to school, you're supposed to get good grades, you're supposed to get a good job, you're supposed to get, you know, a husband or a wife, whatever, get married, have kids, all of that stuff, right? No, that's not right. That's just what the system has taught us. When we approach things from a spiritual perspective, we start to treat reality a lot differently rather than based on what our programs are telling us. And so this might shatter a few people's identities and shatter a few people's belief systems. But that's not that I don't believe in love. That's not that I don't believe in relationships. That's not that I don't believe in marriage. I believe in spiritual marriage. It's just the approach and understanding why we want the things that we want, and realizing that most of the time we want these things for all the wrong reasons, and we need to make sure it's coming from us and it's coming from truth, not from ego, right? It's coming from our truth, it's coming from our soul, it's coming from the core of who we are, rather than from the ego mind and what we've learned from our reality. So always question your reality. And I help people with their reality. As you already know, I help people create their dream life. And if you're someone that's seriously committed to creating your dream life, and you want to have a successful relationship, you want to have a successful business, you want to create a successful life for yourself, you want to get rid of those programs that are stopping you from being your full self, so you can go forward and create that really powerful legacy for your existing children or future children that you have, whatever it is. We offer coaching, and you can go ahead and get that at whatsappgavin.com. You'll see my telephone number on screen right now. You can also scan the QR code. Be sure to check out this video on consulting with your future self and using your future self to manifest the reality that you want. And remember to keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Peace.